Chapter 3, Day 6, Application of Systems, Learning Target. I will be able to solve systems of equations from real-world problems. So first one, we're given the scenario of there were a total of 40 dimes and quarters that valued $4.75 in the box. How many of each type of coin were in the box? So first I would like to define the variables. Remember we did this in the linear programming. So let's do a quick review. First thing, you want to make sure that your variables are defined clearly, what you are looking for. Since we are asked to solve how many, so how many means the total number, how many, so it has to do with numbers. So first thing I would like to define my number of dimes. If I have 1 dimes, that's going to represent I have 10 cents in the box. If I have 2 dimes, then I have 10 cents times 2. If I have 3 dimes, then I would have 10 cents times 3, and so on. So first thing, I would like to name number of dime as X, number of quarter as Y, and according to the story, a total means that the combination of dime and quarter add up. The total number is going to be 40 coins. So there are 40 coins in the box. And I know the total value is $4.75. So as I mentioned before, 1 dime equals 10 cents. 2 dimes equals 10 cents times 2. 3 dimes equals 10 cents times 3. 4 dimes equals 10. Question number 2. Josh has 36 coins that are nickels and dimes. If the value of the coins is $2.90, how many of each type does he have? So do you agree that this question is very similar to the previous one? And the reason why I put another one here is, I know most of you like to work with money. So hopefully by doing 2 questions in a row, the same type, you'll get the idea of setting up the variables correctly at the first place, and then write out the equations, and then use any type of the method that we discussed so far to solve the system of equations in real-world problems. So let's just go ahead and name. In this case, we are dealing with nickels and dimes. So this time my nickel is represented, number of nickels is represented as X. So again, number of nickels. I'm not talking about the total value of the nickels. I'm talking about how many coins of nickels is being represented as X. How many coins of dimes is being represented as Y. So the total number of coins, as we can see from the given scenario here, he has 36. Josh has 36 of coins. So the X plus Y equals 36. If you count the coin that Josh has, he has 36. So the combination of X plus Y, as we name number of coins, number of nickels, and number of dimes, so total should be 36. Followed by, so the total value given is $2.90. So we know that nickel worth 5 cents. Dimes worth 10 cents. So again, 0.05 times X, that's the total amount of the nickels he owns. 0.1 times Y, that's the total amount of dimes he has. And they add up to $2.90. Again, I don't like to deal with decimal numbers, so I'm going to multiply both sides for the second equation by 100. So 0.05 times 100, we have 5x. 0.1 times 100, we have 10y. 2.9 times 100, it becomes 290. So putting the equation side by side, the first equation is the total coin Josh has. So again, that's X plus Y equals 36. The second equation, I multiply by 100 for the total value is given by 5x plus 10y equals 290. How do I solve for the x and y? So if you like substitution method, you can use the substitution method. But I'm going to use the elimination process here today. So I'm going to multiply. So look again. The clue comes from I'm trying to eliminate the 5x. So in order for me to get for the first equation into the same coefficient 1, into the same as 5, I need to multiply this equation by 5. Multiply it by 5. So 1 times 5, that's 5x. 1 times y, that's 5y. 5 times 1y equals 5y. 36 times 5, that's 180. Then, in order for me to get rid of 5x from 5x, I need to subtract. So same number, you use subtractions. If same number, opposite sign, then you use addition. So please be aware of this. Same number, same sign, I'm using subtractions. 5 minus 5. So it will get rid of the variable x, 5x minus 5x. So there's no more x. I eliminate the variable x. 5y minus 10y, that's negative 5y, equals, so to the right hand side, I still subtract 180 minus 290. That's negative 110. Divide both sides by negative 5. I have y equals 22. Plug back to the first equation, x plus y equals 36. The total number of coins he has is 36. So x plus 22 equals 36. Subtract 22 to both sides, x equals 14. So I know that Josh has 14 nickels and 22 dimes. Number of nickels he has is 14. Number of dimes he has is 22. Question number 3. Steve gets exercise on weekends by working around the house. On Saturday, he worked for 6 hours mowing the lawn and stacking wood. So notice that here, he worked a total hour of 6 hours. He worked a total hour of 6 hours, mowing and lawn together. Stacking wood burns 350 calories per hour, and mowing the lawn burns 325 calories per hour. If Steve burned 2,000 calories, how many hours did he spend stacking wood? So again, we have to define our variables. So I'm going to name number of hours mowing lawns as x, number of stacking wood as y. And I know he worked a total hour of 6 on Saturday. So combining mowing the lawn and stacking wood, he worked 6 hours. So x plus y equals 6. And I think it's kind of tricky here. Stacking wood, 350. We should be careful. Which one did we choose to name the stacking wood? It's the y. So you will have to multiply the 350 with the y, because that's the amount of calories burned by stacking the wood. How about the mowing the lawn? So mowing lawn will burn 325. So we have to multiply the 325 with the x. So it's kind of a little bit tricky here. So make sure you read the questions correctly. Stacking wood burns 350. And we use the variable to define the number of hours stacking wood. So 350 times y. And then for mowing lawns, it burns 325. And we name the variable as x. So 325 times x, that represent how much he burned the calories of mowing the lawns. And the total is 2,000. So putting the two equations together, this time I'm going to multiply the very first equation, x plus y equals 6, by 325. So 1 times 325, that's 325x. 1 times 325, that's 325y. 6 times 325, that's 1,950. Again, same number, 325. How do I get rid of one another? How do I eliminate it? Same number, then I have to use subtractions. So 325x minus 325x, it's gone. 350y minus 325y, so that's 25y. 2,000 minus 1950, so I have 50 to the right hand side. Divide both sides by 25, I find y equals to 2. Y equals to 2. Basically, we can answer the question here because it says if Steve burned 2,000 calories. How many hours did he spend stacking wood? Remember, we used the variable y to find the number of hours stacking wood. So y equals to 2. You can basically answer the question here. So Steve stacked wood for 2 hours. Of course, you can find the amount of hours, number of hours mowing lawns. So x plus y equals 6. So x means 4. X equals 4. That means he mowed the lawn for 4 hours. If you name your variables correctly, then you should be able to answer the questions easily. Again, question number 4 is very similar to question number 3. Mary spent Sunday working for her parents around the house. She spent 5 hours washing the car and raking leaves. Raking leaves burns 250 calories per hour, and washing the car burns 220 calories per hour. She burned 1,160 calories. Find how much time she spent washing the car and raking the leaves. So again, as we define the variables, make sure you define the number of hours. Number of hours washing car, I'm going to name it as X. Number of hours raking leaves, I'm going to name it as Y. And I know a total amount of hours she worked on Saturday was X plus Y equals 5 hours. And in the second one, make sure you read the question correctly. Raking leaves burns 250. So 250 times Y plus 220 times X. So this is the tricky part. Raking leaves times Y because that's the amount of number we name for raking leaves. Washing cars burns 220. So 220 times X. That's the amount of the amount of calorie burned by washing cars. And the total amount of calories she burns is 1,160. So putting the two equations together, we have x plus y equals 5. Second one, we have 220x plus 250y equals 1,160. So multiply the first equation by 220. We have 220x plus 220y equals, so 5 times 220, that's 1,100. Subtract the 2. Why do I subtract? So I have the same number again, 220, 220, so I have to subtract to eliminate the x. 250 minus 220, so that's 30y. 1,160 minus 1,100, so that's 60. Divide both sides by 30, I have y equals to 2. So my x is going to be 5 minus 2, which is 3. So that means she spent 3 hours washing the car. She spent 2 hours raking leaves. Question number 5. The Smith and Thomas family went to a theme park. The Smith bought 6 adult and 15 youth tickets for $423. The Thomas bought 5 adult and 9 youth tickets for $293. Find the cost of each type of ticket. So you are asked to find the cost. Okay? So the dollar amount. And there are 2 types. One is for the adult, one is for the youth. So how do I name my variables? So I'm going to name adult ticket cost X dollars. Youth ticket cost Y dollars. Because we're looking for the cost. Okay? So how do I write the system of equations? So I know 6 times X plus 15 times Y equals 423. That's the total amount Smith paid for their entrance fee. And then the second equation I have, 5 times X plus 9 times Y equals 293. That's the total amount for Thomas family. Putting these two equations together, we can solve this equation. We can solve for the cost. So I'm going to name number 1, 6x plus 15y equals 423. Second equation, 5x plus 9y equals 293. So how do I eliminate the variables? As I see, 6x, 5x, 6x, 5x, what's the least common multiples? So I know I have to multiply my first equation, 6 by 5, and then the second equation, 5 by 6, in order for me to have the least common multiple, 30. So as I multiply the first equation by 5, I have 30x plus 75y equals 2115. As I multiply the second equation by 6, I have 30x plus 54y equals 1758. So again, same number, 30x, how do I eliminate it? I have to use the subtractions. So 30x minus 30x, no more x, it's 0 times x. 75y minus 54y, that's 21y. 2115 minus 1758, that's 357. Divide both sides by 21, I find y equals 17. And then I'm going to plug it back into the first equation, 6x plus 15 times y, so my y is 17, so I replace the y with 17, equals 423. 15 times 17, that's 255. So 6x plus 255 equals 423. Subtract 255 to both sides. I have 6x equals 168. So divide both sides by 6, my x equals 28. So that means adult ticket cost is $28. Youth ticket cost is $17. You can plug it into the second equation to check your answers. And don't forget, every time I try to remind you, make sure you check your answers. You can find your answer by yourself by plugging into the other equation that you did not use. Question number 6. Kathy bought 4 pounds of nuts and 2 pounds of raisin for $23.50. Debbie bought 2 pounds of nuts and 4 pounds of raisin for $18.50. How much does each cost per pound? So again, the clue given to you here is how much does it cost per pound? So how do I name my variables? Again, I'm looking for the cost. So I'm going to name a pound of nuts cost X dollars. A pound of raisin cost Y dollars. So again, how do I name it and where do I get a clue from? Because I'm looking for the cost per pound. So a pound of nuts going to cost me X dollars. A pound of raisin is going to cost me Y dollars. And then according to the story, 4 pounds of nuts and 2 pounds of raisin is going to be $23.50. So 4 times X plus 2 times Y equals $23.50. Second one, 2 times X plus 4 times Y equals 2x plus 4y equals $18.50. That's the cost for 2 pounds of nuts and 4 pounds of raisin, and it is given to you as $18.50. Then I put the two equations side by side. 4x plus 2y equals $23.50. I name it as equation number 1. 2x plus 4y equals $18.50. I name it as equation number 2. So how do I eliminate the variable x? So this time 4 and 2. 4 and 2. And the least common multiple is 4. So all I have to do is multiply the second equation by 2. And that's what I did. So I have 4x plus 8y equals 37. Then I put the first equation down below. 4x plus 2y equals 23.50. So 4x and 4x are the same, so I have to subtract it. 4x minus 4x, it's gone. 0x. 8y minus 2y, so that's 6y. 37 minus 23.50. I have 13.50 to the right hand side of the equal sign. Divide both sides by 6. So 6y divided by 6, that's 1y. 13.50 divided by 6, I have 2.25. Then plug it into the first equation, or rather the second one, because I find the second one, the number is a little bit smaller than the first one. So 2 times x plus 4 times, we know the y value is 2.25. So I plug it in for the y value. 4 times 2.25, that's 9, equals 18.50. Subtract both sides by 9, so I have 2x equals 9.50. Divide both sides by 2 to find x equals 4.75. So what does it mean? Describe your answer in words. So 1 pound of nuts is going to cost $4.75. 1 pound of nuts is going to cost $4.75. And then a pound of raisin cost $2.25. Raisin cost $2.25.